Good evening, everybody. It is November 11th, 2020 here on the Wrestling Inc. YouTube and all across all of our platforms here for another Wednesday night war to break down AEW Dynamite versus NXT. I am Justin LaBar alongside Wrestling Inc.'s owner Raj Giri, as well as former WWE and TNA star and all-around good guy Matt Morgan. Real quick shout out to everybody here in the States. It is Veterans Day, so shout out and thank you to all of our wonderful veterans who serve this country. Always these years, all more so to think about those who have given a better life to us to do what we can do now. Matt, how you feeling tonight?
Very, very good. How are you?
Good. Raj?
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
So we're coming off of an AEW Full Gear this past weekend. We'll talk about it. I'm sure we talked about it earlier today on the Wrestling Inc. Daily. Tony Khan kind of hyping the show up. There's even video of him that he retweets of him coming out during commercial break tonight, telling the crowd, thank you for being here. Make sure you stay to the end. What's going to happen at the end of Dynamite? So we'll talk about what we get here on AEW Dynamite as the hype machine was in full swing. We start out with Taz coming to the ring with his guys, Brian Cage and Ricky Starks. And Taz continues to talk about and hype up his guys and talks about how Brian Cage getting ready to go up against a man and Matt Sydal, a man that Cage actually respects and knows is a no joke. And so we get this match between Matt Sydal and Brian Cage, Taz on commentary, of course, and a competitive match. But Brian Cage, the FTW champion, Brian Cage, gets the victory over Matt Sydal. I guess real quick with the match here, Matt. Thoughts on Cage versus Sydal?
Good. This is exactly what should have went down. I mean, I know a lot of people say, this is terrible booking of Matt Sydal. And maybe there's some truth to that. And I mean, no disrespect to him. Evan Bourne was one of my favorite characters in WWE there for a minute, just because of his finisher, right? But in today's landscape, as talented as he is, as athletic as he is, on that roster, not so much. I'm not saying he's not athletic. I'm just saying he's not above the rest. He's not above the fray when it comes to athleticism in that company. So, honestly, this was good use. Good win for Brian Cage.
Yeah, I liked it. I think they got a kind of an underrated stable there with Taz and Ricky Starks and Cage.
Do you think Taz would be caught dead with Ricky Starks? See, I don't. Ricky Starks is too much of a pretty boy with his weird shoes and his no socks. I don't know why I find that weird, but I do. I just could see Taz talking crap about him behind his back all the time. I don't know.
Ricky Starks definitely looks like the kind of person that ECW Taz would hate.
I think that's part of the I think that's part of the charm though, but
I mean, I do like Taz talking, so whatever.
How did my video look to you guys? I'm getting a couple things in the
You're blurry.
I wasn't looking. Now
you're blurry.
Yeah.
Okay, let me try getting back on.
It's all good.
So so after the match, we noted Ricky Starks takes the mics. He says that both he and Brian Cage now officially ranked. So he wants the TNT Championship. Of course, the TNT Championship held now by Darby Allin, who beat Cody for it this past weekend. And up next, we have Cody coming to the ring. He first off congratulates Darby Allin for the title win, and he says right now he's not going to be exercising any rematch clause, so that's not going to be happening. And just as Cody starts to then pivot his conversation, we all of a sudden get interrupted. He gets interrupted by a woman who gets in the ring behind him, unannounced, unadvertised. Her name is Jade Cargill, and she begins to, run him down essentially, and talks about how Cody calls himself a giant killer, and there's nothing giant about him. And Jade says that she knows of a giant who, if Cody keeps talking that talk, he is going to wake that giant. And then, just before she can fully leave, she gets to the ramp and says that giant's name is Shaq. So the commentary team puts this over Shaquille O'Neal. Apparently Shaq was at Full Gear, and then all of a sudden Brandy comes out, and Brandy gets up in Jade's face, running her down for speaking to her man the way she did. So Matt Morgan, it feels like Shaq was supposed to have a pro wrestling match for the last 15 years. Once upon a time, it was supposed to be him and like Carlito, and then other rumors, Big Show, and now finally AEW is the one that's going to hook Shaq here.
Well, they did get a really good moment with Shaq and Big Show.
Yeah, WrestleMania.
That was very good. But I don't see why they would do this. I'll be honest. Not having Shaq. I think that's genius. I mean, why would you put him versus Cody Rhodes? Like, Shaq's not going to be a heel. Like, why would you do that? Have him just come out and job out Ricky Starks, quite frankly, or some guy who runs their mouth a lot that people want to see get shut up.
Yeah, I mean, Jade so that was Jade Cargill. She was training out of the face-to-face wrestling school in Georgia, and she's got a ton of potential. I can't believe they had her go that long in her first TV appearance, when she doesn't have a wrestling background. And just the lines when she's like, "You say you're a giant killer." Has Cody said that before?
He must have at some promo.
But it works. That works. I didn't hate that.
I don't know. It just seems so forced. Cody versus Shaq. It's like they're trying to chase something. They're trying to chase that Austin versus Tyson kind of thing. And I don't know.
By the way, we never really got the follow up of Tyson in AEW.
Of course we did. No, this is just another celebrity rub. Of course, and I have no problem with that. It makes sense. Turner Network. Shaq works for Turner Network. It makes perfect sense. It just doesn't make any sense versus Cody Rhodes, their proverbial top babyface.
Yeah, this kind of feels like AEW. I don't want to say Cody selfishly, because I don't. But it kind of feels like, I want to make sure I get to be in the crossover mainstream match.
Oh, dude, I think I'd make the same mistake if I was Cody Rhodes.
I
think I would.
By the way, those wondering if you want to follow or know more about her, Jade's Twitter handle is @Jade @JADE_Cargill CARGILL.
She has a
people were
ton
curious.
Of followers. She's a future star, I think.
Well, I will tune in now. Now that I wasn't, but now that I got her Twitter handle, I'll be sure to.
And
Go
Justin
creep.
Lopez with the $4.99 super chat. She was trained by Heath Slater. I'm not sure, but I'm hearing she's dating Shaq. That has been the rumor.
Huh.
There has been rumors on that.
So yeah, I guess again, who is the heel then? What? That's going to be really weird.
It will not be Shaquille O'Neal.
Right. So stay tuned. We'll see how this develops. I should say after they're trying to break up the ladies, Brandy and Jade.
But Brandy did cut a fire promo.
She did.
Yes.
And Brian Cage comes out, power bombs Cody. Ricky Starks comes out to the ring. Darby Allin then comes to the ring. So all in all, Darby and Cody on same pages right now.
Yeah, and it sets up Starks versus Allen as well. That's what I think we'll get.
Yeah. All right, so backstage we see Alex Marvez. He is talking with John Moxley about the fact that he's going to be taking on Kenny Omega next. Omega is obviously the number one contender. And Moxley just saying how he and Omega fought before. He's beat him once, but to beat Kenny Omega twice, that takes a special athlete, a special person, and Moxley is that special person. They did announce December 2nd, in fact, on Dynamite. It will be Moxley versus Omega. So putting a lot of eggs in that basket there for a Wednesday night edition of Dynamite.
That is a pay-per-view match. I'm surprised. Granted, we got a long way to go until February when their next pay-per-view is.
Yeah, we do.
Matt, I don't know if you have an answer for this one, but Nate Erickson, $5 says, Matt, without getting anyone in trouble, what's the craziest thing you've seen backstage from any promotion? I'm sure you have some crazy stories.
Oh, God.
Without getting anyone in trouble.
I don't know. Not without getting anyone in trouble, honestly.
That's a tough caveat there.
Yeah, really. I don't want to say anything like that. I could say, some of the drug usage I'd seen. Not like physically backstage. Like when you go out and stuff to dinner and things like that, and different guys with the different habits, me being one of them. Go into the bathroom or whatever, at a club or something like that. And I remember someone, I saw it was the first time I ever saw like a needle being used. And I'll never say which company either. But that person has since gotten help.
That's good.
But I remember thinking that was pretty crazy. And I myself, once I got hooked on opioids, there was a drug called Nubane that was like a bodybuilding type of painkiller that a lot of them would take. And you would take it and they would put it inside like a toothbrush holder and you put that in your pocket. So I guess the needle wouldn't break or whatnot. And like you would mainline that to get immediate pain relief if you were ever out of painkillers. But that was like really extreme. I only done that like maybe a handful of times. And every time I remember being like, brother, your next step is going to be heroin. You've got to get help. What are you doing? Wow. For me. But other stuff, I'd rather talk about me than others because,
What about kind of on the flip side of that? What would you say is the funniest rib you've seen?
I want to say, was it Maven's bag being like chained or something? I want to say it was chained to like the top of the arena, like straight, like up 400,000 feet. Like, I was like, how the hell did it get up there? Number one, and two, how's this kid gonna get it down? That was pretty bad. God, what else? Stuff that would definitely be considered bullying today, I would imagine. But
were you ever on the receiving end of it? I mean, obviously you were a green young guy at one point.
JBL used to try to mentally mess with me a little bit. Yeah. Oh yeah. But I remember one of those deals where I was like, I'm a former college basketball and football player, where our seniors would take our freshmen and like tie them like to the goalposts, butt ass naked at the football stadium. Like, those are some real hazing stuff going on back when I was in college. And I remember being a freshman, like, you guys get me, I'm beating every single one of your bleeps, you know? And I didn't get it, thank God. But I sure as hell didn't repeat it when I became a senior. But like, so like when JBL and the guys like that would do this stuff in WWE, I'm like, this is nothing. Like, maybe non-athletes didn't know how to take the hazing and the razzing and the ribbing. But I was like, in my head, I was like, this is nothing. Except where I come from, I get to punch you in the mouth if I don't like it, and nobody cares. The coach is like, cool, you guys got over it. You're probably going to be friends after this. You respect each other because the younger guy stood up for himself. WWE wasn't like that. I was given under the impression. I remember Johnny Ace point blank told me this, that main eventers don't fight. You don't get in fights backstage. Yeah. When I was thinking about doing something to JBL once and punching him. But I don't know.
Real quick, Tina's been trying to ask this for
Tina!
This is the third time's a charm. She tried to ask this Saturday night, and it got glossed over. But she's asking, since we were talking about Kenny Omega, have we been too hard on Omega and his facial expressions? Japanese dialogue, etc., is overly expressive.
Tina,
is he doing it out of habit because he worked over there?
No, Tina. I think he's still feeling himself out as to who he is. Like, you guys remember I talk about this a lot ad nauseum, probably, for some of you guys that listen and watch the show. You have to figure out, if you're a male wrestler, who you are as a man first. And then you can figure out how to dial that up. Same as a female competitor, right? You got to figure out who you are as a woman. And a lot of that changes when you become a dad or a mom. X amount of years in the business, getting comfortable in the ring, getting comfortable in front of fans, the whole night. There's so much into it. And I still don't think Kenny's gotten comfortable with who he is just yet. And he's throwing different things out there. Whoever is texting me better stop. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have to keep throwing different things out there to see what sticks and what feels comfortable. And that's what I kind of think he keeps doing. And it's not really meeting, you know what I mean? But again, once the bell rings, I love watching his work for what it's worth. The jazz hands and so
I mean, he's that match he had with Moxley was, I mean, not Moxley, with Adam Page this past Saturday it was awesome. It's one of the best matches of the year. Mm-hmm. But the one problem I've always had with his character right now is, like, 2 weeks he was a complete heel. Like, he was doing the totally heelish.
The whole company does it. The whole company does. Same with Bucks.
Yeah,
my favorite tag team ever. So I don't like saying that about them, but same thing.
Yeah.
They go back and forth.
With those guys especially, not so much with Cody and Jericho or MJF. Those guys kind of stay in their lane.
But Adam Page was heel here and there, right? A little bit. It felt like throughout the. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is for that, though. To answer her question, I'll try to answer it. I just think he's trying to feel himself out more. He still hasn't figured it out yet as to who he is. And that, I'll still make the argument, that's pretty damn scary because he is so good. He's considered the best pro wrestler by many, many people, right? At least he was a year ago. That's without a character. If he can figure that out, shit.
Well, we actually get an Omega promo a little bit later where he kind of alludes to a little bit of what we all just said. So we'll get back to that here in a moment. Up next, a bunkhouse brawl match between the Butcher and the Blade up against QT Marshall and Dustin Rhodes. This was a violent, intense match for, ending the first hour of this Dynamite show. Definitely go check this out if you missed it. But coming down to the finish, though, Bunny almost gets accidentally hit by Blade. And what we see is Dustin ends up hitting Blade with the cowbell diamond cutter by QT. 1, 2, 3, the Natural Nightmares get a big victory. Quite frankly, I did not expect them to get this victory. So a big one here. So Bunkhouse brawl match. Been a while since we've seen one of these on television.
Yeah. Nope. Go ahead, Raj.
Go ahead, Matt.
I'm good.
I'm still trying to figure out why my video is so bad, because you guys all look fine to me. What was the last Bunkhouse brawl match? Was it Dustin Rhodes and Blacktop Bully, or that's
the
last one that I could think of. I mean,
I'm sure for good reason. But any match Dustin in is gonna be great. He's just because look at, no offense to QT Marshall, nobody gives a crap about QT Marshall. No offense to him, he's a friend of mine. I don't like saying that, but character wise, nobody cares. But to be able to pull off that match and actually make me care, I give that Dustin. QT is a good worker. I don't know his character still. I don't understand the apple. I don't get any of it. I don't get the having a girl 1 week and then no longer having her. Now she's on the other side wearing the rabbit outfit again. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's like, I know some people will say, well, that was explained on Dark, or that was explained
I watched Dark, though.
Yeah.
I watched Being the Elite, too.
But, most people don't, and this is your flagship show, so just explain it.
What's his name? Yelled at him. He's like, homeboy, get your girl in check, or get your house in check. Remember that? Eddie, what's his name? I said that to him. Kingston. Eddie Kingston said to him in a promo.
Right. But that being said, the match itself was awesome. I mean, maybe awesome strong, but it was really, it was brutal. It was violent. It was action-packed. It was really good.
Dustin.
Yeah, Dustin is just ridiculous.
I'm saying he put that, I guarantee you, he put that match together.
Yeah.
I would agree. So up next, it's time for the induction of MJF and Wardlow into the Inner Circle. Chris Jericho first comes out, and then he wants to introduce the OG members of the Inner Circle, and out comes Jake Hager, Santana, and Ortiz, to the surprise of Jericho, no Sammy Guevara. So they have to keep moving on. Where's Sammy? We don't know. Show must go on. Introduces MJF and Wardlow. They come out. MJF begins to cut an acceptance speech, talking about how it's been 5 long years in the industry. He was given a modest $1 million loan from his dad to get him out and off and running. He made it work. And then he has proceeded to share some poetry that he's written in the honor of this, and he ends up reading the lyrics from the song All Me by Drake. he claims it was an original. Ortiz calling him out that it was not original, and then all the bickering starts to go on. MJF also says he's got a happy 50th birthday for Chris Jericho. Balloons fall, they sing happy birthday to Jericho, and MJF reveals that he is taking all of the Inner Circle first class on a trip to Vegas next week. So I smell a Hangover parody coming.
Oh, it'll be great. It'll be money.
That will be great. And I like when he was doing the Drake lyrics and Santana said, accused him of just name dropping Drake. He goes, I don't know who Drake is. Yeah. And he goes, but I started at the bottom. Now I'm here. Yeah. I thought that was great. I mean, I know, not much happened here. Sammy Guevara wasn't in the segment. And I liked how they did this. You don't want anything to happen yet. You want this to be the slow build. So it was an entertaining segment.
It was entertaining.
Just, it solidifies him in the group. Wardlow now, I mean, their group is a little too big. They need to drop a couple people or we'll see where the storyline goes. But I liked it. I thought this was one of the,
I'll be honest, I never thought that Pride and Powerful, Santana and Ortiz, should have been part of the Center Circle to begin with. I don't know. Even Hager is the muscle. I know it sounds crazy. I just don't buy him as I know he's like a shoot fighter. He can really kick people's butts. Mm-hmm. But even that, he's tall and skinny. He's not I don't know. I'm probably being overly critical, but because they're giving us some really entertaining segments. They have.
Yeah. But
I don't know. When I look at around the ring and I'm like, 2 or 3 of these guys look like something. And then there's others that don't look they should be part of this. They would never hang out.
I think Jericho even said too in a podcast or interview not too long ago that Santana and Ortiz were not originally they were kind of a second or third draft edition that got put. That obviously what made it to TV.
Hager too. Hager wasn't originally supposed to. They were talking about another guy being the heater.
Yeah.
God, I'm forgetting. I think it was a boxer or MMA fighter.
But Sammy was the only one that because Jericho said that he saw Sammy a few years earlier and said, "Why is he being a babyface? This kid's got a face that just makes you want to hate him." So.
Yes, which is true. I listen really quick. I would say Wardlow would have been a much better heater for Jericho.
Yeah. I could see that. I mean, Sammy, I totally see fitting in. Like him and
Yes,
Jericho, just
definitely.
Well, we'll definitely see. I mean, we'll see what happens. Obviously, the slow burn it. I love the little detail. If you watch, Wardlow and Hager always stare each other down nonstop. They never let their eyes off of each other.
Nope.
So I like the, who's
detail,
who's the bigger man here. So we'll see, and we will get an answer to Sammy here coming up in a moment. We get a video package of the Young Bucks and FTR, that wonderful match they had at Full Gear. Backstage, Alex Marvez talking to the Young Bucks. He's a bit nervous because last time he did interview them, they super kicked him. They apologized for that, and they said they're looking for fresh opponents. And they mentioned Top Flight, a young and up and coming tag team. We've seen them on Dark, and that actually is going to be happening next week. The Young Bucks are going to defend their tag team championships up against Top Flight. So that'll
be a great match. I just don't get how they just skipped the line, but whatever.
Wait, did they say it was for the titles, or they were just wrestling them?
Maybe they're just wrestling them.
I thought the graphics said for the titles.
Well, what the hell happened to the top 10?
Right. Yeah. I mean, just being able to name your opponents, that kind of invalidates the win-loss record thing a little bit. And granted, you can't stay hard to that, but someone that's never won a match on Dynamite getting a title shot.
If I'm wrong on that, have the chat room correct me. But I thought I saw the graphic. I thought it said for the tag titles.
It's probably not, but regardless, it's still it'll be a good match because Top Flight's pretty entertaining. Actually, they're really good in the ring.
Yeah, and sometimes you just want to get these guys some wins.
Sure.
Without having to beat other guys.
Up next, we get another advertised singles match for the night. Scorpio Sky up against Shawn Spears. Tully, of course, out at ringside with Spears. And this one, again, a good match here between these two guys. Ends up ending up with Tully distracting the ref. He had left, what was it? What would they call it? He left something. It was like a piece of metal, essentially. He left it there for Spears. Spears puts it in his glove. Ends up knocking Scorpio in the head with the glove.
Loaded
1, 2,
glove.
3. Yeah, loaded glove, exactly. So Shawn Spears getting a much needed one-on-one pinfall victory here on
definitely very much needed. I agree with that. Although I love Scorpio Sky. I don't know what else. His promos are friggin' pretty damn good when they give him something passionate to talk about. And he's amazing in the ring. Looks like he could kick your butt. Athletic as hell. I love Scorpio Sky. But, homeboy did need a win here tonight. Bad.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I thought this was a really entertaining episode of the show.
It was.
I thought this was really good as well.
So they've been trying to chase down Kenny Omega. They go backstage. Dasha said she was supposed to have an interview with Kenny Omega, but he ran off. Then we see Alex Marvez. He's chasing Omega in the parking lot. Omega on the phone, kind of annoyed that he's being interrupted. And this is where we get Kenny Omega, as I mentioned a minute ago, basically kind of alluding, saying he's been hearing the rumors, been hearing with the whispers of he needs to be more like he was in New Japan, and where's the cleaner? And he said he thinks that he's proven by winning the tournament that he's never left. He's just ready to resume his role in the company. And that he's ready to take this title from Jon Moxley. So he didn't fire up, so to speak, but he at least he acknowledged. He's like, I acknowledged a little bit of what even on this show we talk about of Kenny Omega finding himself here in the U.S. So
I thought this was a good promo by Kenny. Again, he was a little heelish. He was not as much as a couple weeks ago, but I thought it was a good promo, kind of playing off of some of his babyface mannerisms, but not doing it. So I liked it.
Mm-hmm. It was all right.
Yeah, so we'll see what more building they do between now and that match in a couple weeks. Women's singles match, Ty Conti out there with Anna Jay up against Red Velvet, out there with Brandy Rhodes. Brandy, of course, still just in a pissy mood from earlier in the night. This match goes 2 segments. They do some picture-in-picture. So for two ladies who, not veterans by any means, they really gave them time out there to go sink or swim. Again, a very back and forth match, entertaining if you watch the whole thing through. As they're trying to, I guess, advance this women's division and add depth to it.
Say who won.
Okay, Ty Conti, big pump kick to the face into a knee to get a pinfall 1-2-3 victory.
You see what he does, Raj? You see what he does? He knows his job is to drive the show tonight. Let everyone at home who doesn't watch the show know who wins and loses these matches. But he's got to get his shit in.
What did I get in? What did I have to get in?
Your personal 5 opinions before even getting to the heat spot of the match.
Nah.
You know I'm right.
Whatever.
But yeah, to what you're saying though, honestly, yeah, very young in their careers. I like that. It's fresh. They feel newer. They all have the look. I think the athleticism and the talent to who knows where they can end up, right? But most importantly, fresh. And I care more about them than I do their heavyweight champion right now for the women's division. I swear to God on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they both look great. Again, Brandy kind of randomly managing Red Velvet. That's her name.
Yeah,
right? Red Velvet.
that's a little, yeah.
You know, again, on Dynamite, I wish they'd explain it. Again, a fraction of the people that watch Dark watch Dynamite, and it's a
What
fraction.
about this? What about this? Just comes up stern. Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
That's like her gimmick. When she was like on first debuting on Dark, like she did it like 10 different times just on her entrance to the ring. Like she's stirring it up, in case you didn't know.
Oh, got it.
And it got so much heat with me. I'm like, you know what? Now I don't hate this so much that I hate it and I don't like her. I hate her now completely. I don't ever want to see her again. But because they took it back. Fans that watch Dark, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Conti looks like a star. Like they both do. I think they both have star quality. So
yeah,
and it should be noticed, small little thing if you pay attention. Dark Order didn't even fully come out of the tunnel, but they were just peeking out of the tunnel, kind of scouting. So we'll see what comes of that.
No, we haven't seen Brody Lee since he lost to Cody, right?
It's been a while,
right? You want to know why? You want to know the truth?
It's
the hard truth. John Silver's the star of the damn show. That's why. He's taking over. He's in post with Chris Jericho, hanging out, having a good time.
Calculon $2.99. Thank you, saying Happy Veterans Day to all my fellow service persons. So.
Thank you for your service, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah,
yes.
thank you.
I agree. I care about this more than the women's world champion in AEW.
There was no Nyla Rose tonight, right? After she won the title.
No. There's so much to be questioned.
After
Why?
she what? Wait, time out. What?
Then she went.
No.
She won the title.
No.
No, she lost to Sheeta.
She sure as hell should have.
Jesus.
But she was jobbed to freak out.
That's
is what
right.
happened. I don't get that, but we don't have time to talk about it.
Yeah.
Her losing to Sheeta. You're right. Brandy.
Like that.
Brandy randomly. They tried the night. They tried the heel group she tried to be part of. They slashed on, and then all of a sudden she's with. Which makes sense, Cody and Dustin, and now she's got this Red Velvet. She just, I don't know. Explanation needs
fill in space.
Yeah. Okay. So finally, we get to a little bit more of the Inner Circle and MJF and such backstage. They're all getting, again, MJF touting how they're all going to go to Vegas, talking to Alex Marvez, and then all of a sudden, here comes Sammy Guevara out of nowhere. Sammy says he got an email from MJF that said, "Go to the beach." So that's where the celebration is going to be. Is at the beach. And MJF says, no. There was a second email that said you got to come here, and Sammy only got one email, and something fishy here. But nonetheless, MJF gives Sammy his Vegas tickets. So we're going first class. We're going to Vegas.
It's gonna switch.
Do you remember that Paul Orndorff Hulk Hogan angle where Paul Orndorff didn't get the phone call from Hogan? I wonder if this was a homage to that.
No.
That would have been pretty clever.
It would, but not enough people remember that. I wish they did.
Yeah.
All right.
I love that angle.
Yeah.
So we get a little talk of we get a little flashback of Orange Cassidy and Best Friends with Kip and Miro, and they run down next week. We got Orange Cassidy versus Kip Sabian. We got Inner Circle slays Las Vegas. We got the Young Bucks up against Top Flight, and we got Cody and Darby Allin versus Brian Cage and Ricky Starks. Eddie Kingston comes out. Talks about how he said, "I quit." That's something he has to live with for the rest of his life. He said, but he will never quit. He'll never stop wrestling. He said, and now we are going to get, and he said he will eventually become AEW World Champion. And he said, now it's time for your main event, Penta versus Rey Fenix. This match, again, how is it not going to be between the brothers? Intense. They're ripping each other's mass off in this match. Some crazy ass pile drive spots out on the apron and on the floor. Makes you wince. But ultimately, after all that, we end up getting Another package pile driver by Penta on Phoenix. Penta gets the victory. Eddie Kingston on commentary, this is the note, is he's playing up how Penta's his best friend. The other commentator saying, Eddie, you're the reason why these brothers are doing this to each other. Eddie goes to the ring, basically kicks and shoves Phoenix out to the floor and is all about Penta. And just as he's trying to celebrate and be all about Penta, all of a sudden music hits, and here is the return of Pac. And Pac hits the ring, and he wants some of Eddie Kingston, and they try to separate them, and that's ultimately how we go off the night. So Pac is the big ending, his return to Dynamite.
Yeah.
Which would have been awesome, except I think a lot of people had their expectations raised because of Tony Khan's tweet.
Yes, he shouldn't have done that.
Tony Dixied himself.
He did Dixie himself.
No, I mean, that's serious. You set Pac up for a little bit of failure, quite frankly.
Yeah, he tweeted, AEW will keep delivering great matches on Wednesday nights, and there are massive surprises ahead. Please join us on TNT tonight. The balance of power in wrestling will shift tonight. And then later he tweeted, stay to the end of AE Dynamite. I promise you it will be good.
Okay, so there was a balance of power shift with MJF officially joining the group, right? Inner Circle. We'll give them that. The matches tonight were out freaking standing. I loved all the matches tonight. But, yeah, there was no big... The surprise was Shaq. Okay, let's be honest. Yes, that's cool. That's different. That's a surprise, I guess. But it wasn't the surprise like that when you tweet something like that, you got to deliver me Sting. You got to deliver me something huge like from WWE or Brock. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and had he not hyped anything, number one, and number two, I don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks ago. They all run together, but we saw Pac. They did the big profile packaged video piece on him. Right. Well, it was good, but I think that kind of like re-entered Pac into my mind, so it wasn't as big of a deal when I saw him. Had they kept him out of sight, out of mind, it probably would have been more like, oh shit, there he is. I haven't seen him.
It would have been slightly, but again, it's no offense to him. It's still Pac at the end of the day, and he's amazing. He's a great talent. That's all great, but it's not again Sting surprise, Undertaker surprise. I know I'm asking for a lot here, but
Justin Lopez $5. I like Pac, but Tony Khan said balance of power will shift in wrestling. He overhyped this like a MFer.
Okay, I defended that though in a weird way, right? The balance of power was MJF maybe being in the inner circle.
Maybe the
balance of power in AEW.
No, he was trying to make this out like what's going to happen tonight. At least that's what it sounded like. What's going to happen tonight is going to shift who you view top the wrestling world. That's what that felt like when he said that. I mean,
Okay.
And the problem is when you put out that there's going to be a big surprise on the internet nowadays, is that people just start speculating and going, and you gotta like either just don't say anything and have your surprise, or if it's going to be a surprise, it's got to be a huge surprise.
Well,
just don't say anything. Let Pac come back and let us be happy.
Yes, but let me just be again. This was a really good show. If we're judging this out of 1 to 10, I'm being dead ass serious. I'm giving this at least an 8.5, potentially even a 9.
Yeah,
I love the show tonight.
Yeah, that last match was awesome.
Yes, it was.
The Bunkhouse brawl with those guys was, I mean, if you're a fan of like bloody, violent matches.
Well, the girls match was entertaining.
Yeah, it was really good. So, yeah, I mean, super strong show. So, but yeah, I'd probably say an 8, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'd go 8. Again, they have a lot they're building off. They have a lot of stories that are being told. So that's the good thing is every week when the show ends, I can name at least 3 or 4 things where I'm like, well, I can't wait to see what the next chapter is next week.
That has slightly advanced. Yes, definitely. And this is so funny because this was supposed to be the company that was going to be on nothing but flip-flop and fly, no storylines, all high spot matches only with no character development. I will make the argument minus the women's division of NXT and like Karrion Kross and some other like top guys for NXT. They do a better job of developing, I'll make that argument, their characters of AEW. I'm more entertained by their characters.
Yeah, I think probably because of the lack of like, creative writers and all the middle management that you get in WWE. I feel like the characters can do bigger jumps and bigger things week to week. I think the only thing we run in
promos too. Name one by NXT to cut promo like Eddie Kingston.
Right. I think the only thing that we run into with AEW sometimes is what we've touched on when we come across them is continuity or quality controls.
Heel and face stuff. Somebody need to tell people you don't want to do this. That's not a good idea. I know you're an EVP, but just let's not do it.
Yeah.
They need that.
All right, so that was AEW Dynamite, so a good show. Hopefully you know what to go catch if you missed any of it. Let's jump over on the dial to NXT, which kicks off in a big way. It kicks off with Johnny Gargano, who is your excuse me, your North American champion, in the ring, and he has got a wheel of challengers. So he's going to spin the wheel, and it's got names like Damian Priest, Roderick Strong, Pete Dunne, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But finally he spins it, and then all of a sudden it starts to go in reverse, and then it lands on Leon Ruff, who his name is, I believe, over Austin Theory. So Leon Ruff, who, you know, has been like a job kind of guy up to this point on Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. He comes out and has his match with Gargano, and Damian Priest is out there causing some distraction, but enough that Leon Ruffs ends up getting the win here off of the distraction. He rolls up Gargano for the pin. And so, you know, 1, 2, 3 Kid, Razor Ramon 93 style, Leon Ruff is your NXT North American champion. And
well,
what a way to start.
I don't like Gargano as the champion to be. I like, you know, him taking the title off of Priest to begin with. But I liked this. I did like this. This was such element of surprise. I did not expect it. You got to give them their props. Great job.
Yeah, I had tweeted that Razor Ramon 1, 2, 3 Kid analogy as well, because that was as close to that as you could get in today's era. Yeah. And like, it was totally unexpected, total surprise when they announced him as the champ. Have you seen that picture with Triple H and Leon?
No.
I saw Triple H retweet the video clip of Priest goes to put the title around Ruff's waist, raise Ruff's hands, and then the belt falls to Ruff's ankles, and Triple H retweets and goes, "This is why we don't call it a belt."
Yeah, so that's the picture on Triple H's Instagram. It's him standing with Ruff, and the belt is around his knees. That was pretty. That's pretty good. It was entertaining. You know, I know I'm not a big fan of changing the titles too much, but once in a blue moon, to do a surprise with this storyline, I thought it totally worked. And it's not the world title.
And Gargano with that title does nothing for me. No, I'm sorry. He doesn't need it. It doesn't need him. They should have never taken it off of Priest.
Well, and to credit to Johnny and to his wonderful work, and then especially as a heel, I only feel like this elevated Johnny more for the shenanigans he does the rest of the night. This not harmed at all by this.
No.
Yeah. No, I thought it was a hot way to open the show. So good stuff.
It was, and after break, we see Leon Ruff. He's still celebrating, and backstage, Priest tells Ruff, "Go on, go celebrate, and get out of this building." And then here comes Gargano. He's bitching to William Regal that this needs to be reversed and all this stuff. And Gargano loses his temper. Regal says, "You need to calm down. I'll talk to you once you calm down." So that's more to come there. All right, we get Santos Escobar up against Jake Atlas. We show some footage earlier in the day of Atlas, who's kind of stalking them and he takes out Joaquin Wilde with some kind of a weapon back out in the parking lot. So Atlas on the hunt here for Santos Escobar. These two go out in a pretty lengthy match. Ultimately, though, we end up getting Escobar hitting the legato finisher to retain his title here. So Santos Escobar stands tall.
I still want to see Atlas beat him, though. I still want to watch this match again, and I want to see Atlas win. I like Atlas. So it did its job, really.
Sure.
And you got to think that's coming, right? At some point.
I hope so, because they're going to hurt a really good, potentially really good babyface for them if they don't give them this win.
Yeah.
We also see, this is fun backstage. Dexter Loomis is backstage. He's drawing on a huge whiteboard. And he's drawing what looks like the zombie referee chasing a scared out of his mind Cameron Grimes from Halloween Havoc. So more to come there. So Dexter Loomis, an artist too, Matt Morgan.
Yes, he is. He's a really good artist.
Showing it off. Him and Jerry Lawler, they can have a draw off picture.
He really is, though. Yeah.
All right. Back from the break, we see video Shotzi Blackheart. She's talking about how Candice LeRae destroyed her mini tank. And destroyed a piece of what represents her. Looking for revenge is Shotzi Blackheart. All right, Xia Li versus Raquel Gonzalez. Out comes Raquel first, then the music hits, and out comes I gotta be honest, I was out of the room, so I missed a lot of this here. So
just try to what happened.
I'm trying to fill this in. Well, so Boa
If you miss what happened, you're not going to be explaining. Right. You're not going to be able to explain.
Raj, can you do it?
Why can't you read it?
No, we use that as for the match order, but you go off of memory as to what actually happened. But in this,
I don't have the memory.
Tell me that when I had Drive, I thought it was, even though I watch shows, you read every detail.
No, you don't read word for word. No.
Oh.
But I miss this. But I know that there's something about letters, and that's why I'm like, there's letters that are being sent to people here. I know that much.
This was so bizarre. I mean, because I had actually walked downstairs and walked back up when this started, and I saw Boa outside the ring laid out, and then the lights turned red, and this guy comes out. Let me run it through it. So yeah, Raquel Gonzalez comes out first, waiting for Xia Li. The music hits, but instead Boa came out. He said that she's not here tonight and apologizes, but then Gonzalez just beats him up all over the ring now. Boa was, one of the Chinese recruits from a couple of years ago. I mean, he's got good size, but anyway, he got his ass kicked and all over. And then finally, this unfamiliar music started up, and the lights went red, and like this old man. Of Asian descent, I'm not sure. I believe he's Chinese. Came walking down the ramp with a letter in his hand. Boa was apologizing, and he put the letter in his hand, and then I don't know. It looked like Boa was like possessed or shaking the letter. I don't know. It was so bizarre. I could not explain what was. I could not tell what was happening.
It was
corny as hell.
It's the return of Lord Tensai.
It was.
You don't think it has anything to do with the female wrestler she was originally supposed to wrestle? Writing a letter like that says, "We're going to bring you back and we're going to freaking kill you for ruining this." And you got beat, and P.S. You got beat up by my opponent. I don't know.
Maybe the letter said, "You've got called up to the main roster and you're going to be in retribution." He just broke out in tears.
Here's all I cared about. Gonzalez looked like a freaking beast. I love it. Love the continuous, slow, steady crescendo of her being a badass. Love it.
Yeah, this angle with Boa and the old guy and Xia Li, we'll see where it goes.
Yep, it's different. Can't say it's not.
It's different.
Yeah, so I'll have to go back and catch myself up.
There was a dragon going around in the background, so definitely check it out. I know it could be hard to pay attention to both, but I felt like someone slipped me something in my drink when I was watching it, but it was weird.
That's what I mean. I came back in the room and I caught like the last 10 seconds, and then I tried to read real fast, and I start reading social media and letters, and I'm like, oh god, I'm lost already. Yeah, I didn't have enough time to watch it and get caught back up. All right, so moving on. We end up getting backstage Timothy Thatcher. He's fighting around with August Gray. They end up fighting into and destroying Dexter Loomis's artwork. No. So now that's caused a problem. So William Regal says we're gonna have a Thatcher and Dexter Loomis later tonight.
Nothing. Please keep going. Please.
In a ratings poison match.
Like seriously, keep going. I'm not gonna say that. That was terrible.
$5 Canadian from Jody Shona Jenkins. It was Hakushi looking for a pen pal. There's a deep dive.
Hakushi's Japanese, but.
Toni Storm versus Candice LeRae. I love these two ladies. I love seeing this. So this one I did try to make more of a point to pay attention to and not leave the room. This one, really good stuff here, back and forth as it should be. LeRae goes for submission. Storm kicks her away. Toni Storm then approaches LeRae, who gets sent in the turnbuckle, rolls her up for the pin, using her feet on the ropes for the leverage. So nice dirty win by Candice LeRae, as it should be. But obviously it does nothing to harm Toni Storm, who's got another day to fight.
Really? I don't like her losing.
Yeah, too soon.
I don't like her losing. I don't care if it was a Mack truck that's on top of her. I don't like her. Shoulders on the mat for 3 seconds, or tapping out, or quitting. Not yet.
Same as Ember Moon when they beat her a couple weeks ago.
Oh my God, yeah.
Way too soon for either of those.
Yes.
Well, so there's more to this. After it, Toni Storm immediately goes after LeRae because of that. And then all of a sudden, the mystery Scream Ghostface attacker hits the ring, starts helping LeRae. Shotzi Blackheart runs out, tries to even it up. But ultimately, it is revealed that the mystery person, as we thought it would be, is Indy Hartwell. And they stand together and stand over top of the babyface.
That works.
Yeah. As far as reveals go, yeah.
That works. It'll help her. It's designed to give her a rub and get her over. She's the low man on that totem pole, so to speak. So she gets a rub out of it, hopefully.
And we talk between Toni Storm, Candice LeRae, Io Shirai, and Ember Moon. Man, and now Raquel, Gonzalez and Rhea Ripley. That women's division is stacked.
Stacked.
I mean, the best of all the, Raw and SmackDown.
It's not even close.
It's not even close. And same as, obviously, not AEW. So, yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
All right, so now it's time for Timothy Thatcher versus Dexter Loomis. So you got Thatcher, who's been this, the mat wrestler. You got Loomis, who's just the psycho killer. Back and forth, and finally, as we get down to the ending here, Cameron Grimes, he appears on the apron. Timothy Thatcher sends Loomis in to Grimes. That knocks Grimes off the ring, and that leads to Thatcher taking Loomis down into a crucifix for the pin and a win. So Timothy Thatcher gets the win, and then after the match, we see Thatcher. He's got his arm raised. Grimes is out there, and then Grimes and Loomis start to go at it. Steel chairs come out, and this more violence between these two. So this thing with Grimes and Loomis not over. I'm not sure what the next stipulation match could be, but it's not over yet.
You mean the zombies dancing around them and everything wasn't the end of it?
That was not the end of the book.
All right.
I get bored by Timothy Thatcher matches.
Yeah, it's an acquired taste.
Yeah, it reminds me of like William Regal when I was a kid, and you'd hear everyone talk about how great Regal was, and I thought he was later. But
you
when I was a
heard
kid,
it when we got older, you heard that, right? But when we were kids, we didn't care about Regal. No offense.
Exactly.
Or Fit Finley even.
Exactly.
The stuff I liked the best about William Regal was like his days, his comedy stuff, and like with Tajiri and Jericho, the stuff he
was awesome. He was awesome at that too.
Yeah. Once he became more of a character,
once I became a wrestler, loved watching his stuff because he was so flawless.
Right.
Yeah. All right, we get Johnny Gargano. He's trying to say he's calmed down. He's outside of William Regal's office, and he gets Regal to answer the door, and he says, "Look," he basically admits, he goes, "I rigged it. I rigged the wheel. It was all just supposed to be a practical joke. You should reverse this decision. Belt should be back at me." And Regal, of course, says, "Absolutely not. The decision stands. Rough is champion." And Gargano explodes again. So,
yeah, Gargano again. He was good here.
Get a really good Tommaso Ciampa promo. He references Harley Race. Killer Kowalski talks about how how those heels of the past, they never had to tell you how tough they were, but something about today, everybody needs to talk about how tough they are. So a really good promo here by Ciampa. We also get a video package promoting Rhea Ripley and Io Shirai. They're going to have a match next Wednesday night between the two, so keep an eye on that. And before we get to the main event, we'll take the super chat that just came in here. This is $2.99 from Steve Marcachuli. Starting a promotion today, one woman, one man. Guessing who's your first draft pick?
Rhea Ripley for a woman and one man. Oh boy. I wanted to say Roman for a second as heel Roman, but no. Cross as he was being booked at the time. Just because you got to think into the future. 10, 15 years into the future. Everyone's going to say Brock Lesnar or something like that. That'll give me like 2 to 3 years. I want 10, 15, 20 years down the line. Interesting.
Because, at the same time, you want someone that people know so they get the eyeballs on the promotion also.
That's true.
So for that, I'd say Charlotte Flair. I'm going to say Brock doesn't count since he's not active right now. So I'd say Charlotte Flair and Roman.
I'm thinking into the future. Again, it's like an NBA draft pick.
Yeah.
Justin?
I don't know.
Going off you need some eyes right away. And who's fair game? I'm gonna say heel Roman Reigns.
These are easy picks.
But no. For a woman, I go to something like a Britt Baker. I go to something where you can see like longevity. You can see.
There you go.
It hasn't been done. So
I'm wrong with that.
2 ends of the spectrum. Established on one end.
I take it back. I want a new male pick. Guess who I'm going to pick? Guess who you guys I'm going to pick?
Chris Jericho.
Matt Morgan.
No.
Wardlow.
Come on, guys.
MJF. Kenny Omega.
Close. Same company.
I know.
The chat room is lighting up right now. I guarantee.
Evil Uno.
No, the Dark Order guy, John Silver.
John Silver. That's my first pick.
There you go. John Silver. I have to get John Silver on this podcast one day so Matt and John Silver can just have comedy bits all day. All right. Now it's time for main event. Well, we get a little promo talk from Pat McAfee, and it's time for NXT Tag Team title match. Breezango up against Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. Pat's on commentary. This is their main event. Solid tag team action here going on. But no surprise. Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch do get the win after McAfee distracts the referee, and Pete Dunne takes out Tyler Breeze to stop him from getting the hot tag on Fandango. After the match, the McAfee and company just destroy Breezango out at the commentary table. Brutal stuff. Pat McAfee grabs the kind of selfie in the video, the camera, and cutting a final promo about them being the kings of NXT, standing tall. So, I mean, again, they're really building this McAfee group up here. Matt, do you buy into it?
Yeah, I do, because of Pat McAfee. As odd as that sounds, because he's like the Jimmy Hart of the group. You know what I mean? He's like the mouthpiece of the group.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, he has legitimacy to it. I buy it. I like it.
I like the fact that they're letting McAfee and heels get over as strong as they are every week. They're staying, and I like the fact that Undisputed are staying off TV. I like that we're making the big deal for when the baby faces come flying back in.
Yeah.
Yep.
And McAfee, to your point, Matt, he looks awesome.
Yes.
I don't see how you could do like a War Games match in this setting, because that building is too small. But I don't know. Maybe if you moved it to the Thunderdome, you might be able to. But
do we know when War Games would be? Do we have a date?
No.
Because it's possible that if it's a point where they have whatever the new Thunderdome location is going to be, they could always do it there if it's going to be a bigger location.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible. I mean, we'll see, because I know AEW, remember, they had that Blood and Guts match planned, and that they never got to, and it was that same double cage deal. Yeah. But it was just too big. Real
quick with AEW, we didn't bring this up earlier, or I glossed over it. There was some rain coming through Jacksonville tonight, and that was a bit of a deal of them trying to keep it dry and doing a lot of work during breaks. That's the first I can think that they've had to deal with it on Wednesdays, but I'll be curious to see if they're staying at Daly's place for the long haul and rain continues in through these months here. Like what happens if you get a really bad weather night at Daly's place and you're outside?
Well, I mean, to be fair, yeah, we have hurricane watches and stuff right now.
That's what I mean. This is the time. So
it's the wind with it. You know what I mean? That gives you that annoying rain that just like slants and just smacks you in the side of the face. It just pisses you off.
A little bit of sideways rain, a little bit of fat rain that seemed to come from down below.
What the hell are you talking about? What is that?
Ever seen Forrest Gump? He's talking about all the types of rain from Vietnam.
Yeah. So Matt, what is like the rainy season in Florida? Is it now?
Now. It should have been September, October. I'd say September on. So
they've had some good luck.
But I was gonna say it feels slow. It feels like right now, like what we're getting, we should have had in September.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's like WrestleMania. WrestleMania, all those years they've done it outdoors in April and never had rain or never had snow.
Which is crazy to me.
Yeah. And Vince with the famous quote, "It's WrestleMania. It's not gonna rain."
And that one year in New York, it snowed like the next day.
It did. That was the year. I remember that was the year they had the ring posts had heaters in them to keep the talent warm enough because it was so cold out there.
Yeah.
All right, that was NXT. 1 to 10.
7.5. 7. I take it back.
6.5.
Yeah, I go 7. All right, so NXT we give a 7, 6.5.
AEW wins again.
AEW with the win this week.
Yeah.
2 weeks in a row now.
All right, Raj, what else we got going on?
As we broke on Wrestling Inc. earlier today, the Rascalz are headed to WWE. It was announced on Impact Wrestling last night that they were leaving the company. Their last match is next week. And I found out today that, they are actually, a lot of people assumed that they would be heading to AEW, but they are heading to WWE. They got are
they going to
contract
NXT?
Offer. I'm sure most likely NXT. They got a contract offer. It's not officially signed yet, but all signs point to them going there.
Okay.
Good for them.
And then AEW Games, they announced their video game. They showed some early footage from it. It looked they have the production director of No Mercy working on it, and
which was smart. That's still the best video game of all time for wrestling.
So you played No Mercy then?
Oh yeah,
because I've never played it. How is that different than other WWE games?
From if you saw, they also have Ukes. I could have sworn as one of the
So it's Ukes. Yeah.
Like what the freak? It's like an all-star cornucopia of like every game maker that made a decent wrestling game is like in on this. I think that's awesome. But like if you saw a couple of the clips they were showing with Omega and Jericho in there, for example, those angles and how they show it, the wrestlers, they're a little cartoonish, but not too over the top cartoonish, and they still have the realistic faces to them a little bit. I don't know. That's what I always dug about No Mercy the most, and the handle of it. The handle of it was important too. They say it best in their own commercial for it. It's like anybody can pick it up and play, but it takes a while to master, if that makes sense. So like my wife can pick that up and play against me and figure it out, you know what I mean, without it being brain surgery. And I like the graphics of it a lot.
Yeah.
Wish they show more, but they probably don't have more.
Yeah, that was the odd thing, as I caught talking about this earlier today with Nick, is that they even, I guess, prefaced that some of the footage that they showed from the game, they even said like,
"No, I guarantee it's going to look like this."
Yeah, which to me, that's. Did you need to do this announcement now, or like why now?
Can I tell you how terrible the announcement itself was, though?
Apparently, they're like I didn't, but Nick told me they're like 45 minutes delayed of going live, and
no, that's not it. It's the actual execution of them talking about what do you call it? The 3 different types of games that they're putting out, right? But they had like Omega come out and do it first in his like nerdy talk, nerdy voice.
Well, he was doing. They were all doing the Steve Jobs.
Right. Well, I missed that then because I did not get that out of this at all. My apologies. I watched it twice. It went right over my head. I did not know that's what they were trying to go for.
Yeah, because Steve Jobs always wears the black
turtleneck and
yeah. All right, well, cool. If I didn't get it, who else didn't get it? But again, it was Kenny being a dork again. Didn't say anything. He didn't make me want to buy a ticket to watch him wrestle, which last time I checked, this should be the end-all be-all of a wrestling performer trying to get over, to make me go want to see him fight. But again, I thought he was a little nerdy in it. But again, he's a huge video game guy to begin with, so yeah. But then from there, they went into Aubrey, copying and doing the same thing to introduce the next game, right? The next platform that they're putting a new game on.
Right.
And then so on and so forth. The mobile. And what was the last one?
So the mobile one was like you're the GM kind of thing, which was a mobile game. Then they came out with the shirt.
Britt did the shirt.
And then they came out with a casino game. Which is, I guess, out now or very soon.
That's the one that's going to be out first, but they had nothing to show you of, that's weird. That's the one that's coming out first, and you have nothing to show us.
They had a cool little trailer with the guys walking in a casino, but I thought they should have opened with that. Like we're launching this casino game, and everyone thinks that's the announcement. They're all pissed off. Then you bring out the shirt, kind of build to the console game at the very end, and then everyone's wow.
You're right. Did I miss something with the shirt joke though? Like, what was that?
So Steve Jobs, whenever Steve Jobs would come out and like unveil the latest iPhone, it was always in that same black turtleneck, blue jeans.
I meant the AEW Games T-shirt. Why did Britt Baker come out and advertise the AEW Games T-shirt?
No, just
merchandise.
It's
a boring ass T-shirt.
Guarantee you, they probably sold a bunch.
They probably did. Marks don't go buy them.
But again, this whole thing seemed premature. If you don't have enough footage to I don't know, this seemed kind of early to do. Like, I get it if the game was if the console game was coming on 2 weeks and you want to do it for Christmas rush, I get it, but it's not.
And also, why Sheena? Why was Sheena like the ending of it?
Yeah,
I guess because she's the women's champ, but no.
Yeah, when they said you could create your dream matches, I thought, they're going to show Sting. Like, they got Sting for this game and have Sting and, Omega or something like that. But
anybody.
Sheeta and Omega.
Not Sheeta. That's not my dream match. That's Omega's dream match. It ain't mine.
And that would be kind of a cool coup if they did get Sting for this game whenever it does come out, because that's how Sting got into WWE was with that 2K deal. It'd be kind of a
same with Goldberg.
Yeah, same as Goldberg.
And apparently Aubrey, I think Ref Aubrey has like
she worked in that. That
video
was
game.
The coolest part of that commercial for me, by the way, because I do like Aubrey. a lot.
Yeah.
Like her story.
But you know, that just it's another big name video game. That's a wrestling video game coming out. You know, when was the last time a wrestling company had a video game? Impact had one.
Right.
It'll be a monster game too, though. This will be a monster hit. The people that are working on it, good Lord.
Yeah. And it should be, because I think about it. The last company, not WWE, to have a major video game in the States was WCW. I mean, so this would be huge if AEW could come out and can compete in that market against WWE. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, TNA, they did have a video game.
Impact had a game.
Yeah.
It was in the stores.
Yeah.
Right, but it didn't do anything.
Right.
Oh, that's not what you said. You said...
I'm talking about one that's going to do something. That's going to compete against WWE is what I said.
Right. And this one might even do better than the last couple WWE ones. That last one, Battlegrounds or whatever, that one's always like on clearance. And that came out like last month.
WWE's brand is so big, though. That is just such a big damn name. That's like NBA, 2K, whatever.
Even the last 2K that WWE did. I'm not a gamer anymore, but I see the headlines. Didn't they have terrible PR last year? How bad everything went?
God awful, the worst. But it's still WWE. Parents are going to see it and put that in their kids' Christmas stocking every year.
Yeah. AEW has so many of their demo, like their fan base, like that are gamers. You know,
right?
Like they do all these little video game tributes and Kenny Omega's entrance, and everyone gets it, and I don't.
How is Miro and Kip Sabian not part of this?
Right,
they're fighting over video games.
Right? Yeah. Okay. Exactly. So, and I think that's about it.
All right. Well, that's that. So video games coming. We'll wait and see when the dates get released for that. AEW is building to next week. They got a good rundown next week. We got some stories of NXT continuing on. So a lot to watch. And of course, Wrestling Inc. every day, keeping you up with all the headlines. I'm most interested to see what the next location for the Thunderdome is. That's that lease with Amway Center gonna be running up here soon.
So they said that I guess Tropicana Stadium is one of the places considered.
I don't know if that'll work. Tropicana, I don't know if it can hold. The quality, I mean.
No, it wouldn't be the Thunderdome. It would they would go back to having fans in the stands.
Well, that'd be fun.
So, yeah, we'll see.
That'd be a good place to do a Rumble.
Yeah.
You know, because a Rumble with no crowd, not having the crowd count from 10 to 0, that's weird. If we have a silent Rumble. All right, anything else, Raj?
No, that's it on my end.
Matt?
Thanks, guys.
Follow him at BP Matt Morgan. Follow him at Raj Giri _303 at Justin LaBar. Tomorrow will be on the Wrestling Inc. Daily with Nick Hausman. Friday, some combination of this group will be back for your post SmackDown. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Leave a comment, hit the like button, share with a friend. Be safe. Once again, happy Veterans Day. Have a good night.